The morning was quiet. The city was waking up, but inside a small room, Arin sat still, staring at his phone screen. A list of dreams was written there, things he had wanted to do for years. Start a business, run a marathon, make my parents proud. But they all looked like impossible wishes now. Arin was tired. Every day he thought about changing his life, and every night he told himself, maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow never came. He scrolled through social media, watching people succeed, travel, and smile. Each post reminded him how far behind he was. He whispered to himself, "Why can they do it, and not me?" At that moment, something strange happened. The power went out, total silence. Only the dim light from the window touched his face, and in that silence, a voice echoed in his head. It wasn't loud, but it was clear. It said, "What if you just did it?" Arin froze. He looked around. Nobody was there. But that voice felt real, almost like someone had entered his thoughts. He stood up, confused. "What does that even mean?" he muttered. But the words stayed in his mind, repeating over and over again. That night, he couldn't sleep. The same question kept echoing. What if you just did it? He thought about all the times he had stopped himself, when he wanted to apply for a new job but got scared, when he wanted to speak up but stayed quiet, when he wanted to start but doubted himself. The next morning, Arin woke up earlier than usual. He looked at himself in the mirror, tired eyes, messy hair, but something was different. For the first time, he didn't feel like escaping the day. He opened his notebook and wrote one line. "Today I will do one thing that scares me." He didn't know where to start, but he knew he had to. His hands were shaking, his mind was full of fear, but deep inside, there was a spark. He whispered, "Maybe it's not about being ready, maybe it's about being brave." As he stepped outside, the world felt different, brighter, louder, more alive. It was as if the universe was waiting for him to take that one step. He didn't realize it yet, but that single thought, "What if you just did it?" was about to change everything in his life. Because sometimes, one brave moment is all it takes to rewrite your story. And for Arin walked out of his house with a notebook in his hand and fear in his heart. The morning air was fresh, but his mind was heavy. Every step felt like a question. What if I fail again? What if nothing changes? But then he remembered the voice. What if you just did it? He took a deep breath and said to himself, "Let's just try." He had always dreamed of opening his own small online business, something simple, something he could build with his ideas. But every time, he stopped himself, thinking he wasn't smart enough or rich enough. That day, he walked to a small cafe where people worked on their laptops. He sat down with his old computer, opened a blank page, and started writing ideas. At first, his hands trembled. His mind kept saying, "You can't do this." But he kept typing. Hours passed. The cafe got noisy, but Arin didn't care. He was focused. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about being perfect. He was just doing it. When he finally looked up, he saw an old man sitting across from him watching quietly. The man smiled and said, "You look like someone who's fighting a battle in his mind." Arin smiled nervously. "Maybe I am. I'm trying to do something I should have done long ago." The old man nodded. "Good. Most people never even try. They spend their whole lives waiting for the perfect moment. But that moment never comes." Arin listened carefully. The man's words felt deep. "You mean, just start, even if I'm not ready?" The man laughed softly. "Exactly. Courage doesn't mean no fear. It means doing it with fear." Arin smiled. He didn't know who that man was, but his words gave him strength. Later that night, Arin returned home with tired eyes but a calm heart. He had finally started. The website wasn't perfect, his ideas weren't clear, but something inside him had changed. He had moved from thinking to doing. Before sleeping, he wrote in his notebook again, "Day 1, I took the first step. It was scary, but I did it. As he closed his eyes, he felt a strange peace, and the kind that comes only after facing your fear. But deep inside, a small doubt still lived. Would he really be able to continue? Would his dream survive when life got hard again? He didn't know. But one thing was sure. He wasn't going back. Because once you start doing instead of doubting, there's no turning around. And for Arin, the real journey had just begun. Days turned into weeks, and Arin kept working on his small business idea. He learned new things every day: how to design, how to write, how to sell. He was proud of himself. For once, he wasn't just dreaming, he was doing. But life has a way of testing people just when they start believing. One evening, after weeks of effort, Arin launched his website. He waited for his first customer, checking his email again and again. Hours passed. Then days. Still nothing. No messages. No sales. No support. He felt his heart sink. The excitement turned into disappointment. All the hope he had built started to fade. "Maybe I was wrong," he whispered. "Maybe I'm not good enough." He looked at his reflection in the dark computer screen. Tired eyes, heavy mind, the voice inside him, the same one that told him just do it, was now silent. That night he couldn't sleep. His thoughts were loud and painful. Why did I even start? Everyone else seems to do it better. Maybe I should quit before I waste more time. The next morning, he sat at the same cafe where he had once felt powerful. This time, everything felt different. The noise of people, the smell of coffee. It all felt like a reminder of failure. Then he saw the same old man again, sitting at the corner reading a newspaper. Arin hesitated but finally walked over. "Sir," he said quietly, "I think I failed." The old man looked up. "Failed? Or did you just learn what doesn't work?" Arin frowned. "I worked so hard, and nothing happened." The man smiled gently. "That's how it starts. Every dream tests you first. The world asks, do you really want this? And only those who keep going even after the fall find the answer." Arin listened in silence. The words hit deep. The man continued, "Remember, the first fall is never the end. It's just the universe checking how serious you are." Something inside Arin shifted again. He realized he had been focusing on results instead of effort. Maybe success wasn't about winning. Maybe it was about not quitting. He went back home and opened his laptop once more. His hands were tired, but his heart was alive. He started learning what went wrong, fixing mistakes, improving little by little. Before sleeping, he wrote in his notebook, Day 23. "I failed, but I'm still here. That means I'm already stronger." He smiled for the first time in days, because sometimes falling doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're still fighting gravity. And for Arin, the fight had only begun. Arin's days started to feel different again. The pain of failure was still there, but now it didn't stop him. It pushed him. He woke up early every morning, worked on his ideas, fixed his website, and learned from his mistakes. He no longer expected success overnight. Instead, he focused on improving one small thing each day. One evening, while checking his emails, he saw a message from a stranger. It said, "Hey Arin, I saw your page. Your idea is simple but full of heart. Keep going." Arin smiled. It was just one message, but it meant everything. It was proof that someone, somewhere, had noticed his effort. He replied, "Thank you. You have no idea how much I needed this today." That single message became his fuel. He kept working, this time with a calm mind and a stronger heart. He realized something important. People don't follow success, they follow courage. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. A small local blog wrote about new entrepreneurs in the city, and Arin's project was mentioned. It wasn't big news, but to him it was huge. His work was finally being seen. His website got its first real customer. Then another. Slowly, the numbers started to grow. But with new attention came new pressure. He had to manage orders, answer emails, and deal with problems he'd never faced before. Some nights he felt like quitting again, but each time he reminded himself, "You started this because you believed in something. Don't forget that." One night, while packing an order, he remembered the old man's words. "The world asks, 'Do you really want this?'" Arin smiled to himself. "Yes," he whispered. "I really do." His phone buzzed. It was a message from a friend he hadn't talked to in months. "Bro, I saw your post. I can't believe you actually did it. You always talked about this and now it's real." Arin read the message again and again. It hit him. Months ago he was the one saying, "Maybe someday." Now he was living the day he once dreamed of. Before sleeping, he wrote in his notebook, "Day 45. One message, one customer, one step. That's how change begins." He didn't know how big his journey would become, but he knew one truth. Once you take the first step, life keeps opening new doors. And for Arin, this was just another beginning. Weeks turned into months, and Arin's small idea started growing faster than he ever imagined. Orders were coming every day, his website was getting attention, and people were sharing his story online. He finally felt like things were working. The hard nights, the failures, the pain, it all started to make sense now. But sometimes success comes with its own kind of test. One morning, Arin woke up to dozens of messages. His website had crashed. The payment system failed, and angry customers were demanding refunds. His heart dropped. He spent the whole day trying to fix things, but nothing worked. He called for help, but every delay made things worse. His small victory started to fall apart in front of his eyes. By evening, Arin sat in his chair, exhausted. "Why does this always happen to me?" he whispered. "Every time I stand up, life pushes me down again." His phone rang. It was his friend, Rafi. "Bro, I saw what happened online. Are you okay?" Arin sighed. "Not really. Everything I built might be gone." Rafi paused and said, "You remember what you told me months ago? You said it's not about being ready, it's about being brave. So, be brave now." Those words hit him deep. He realized it was true. It's easy to stay positive when everything is going well. The real test comes when life breaks your rhythm. He took a deep breath and got back to work. He stayed up all night, contacting support, fixing bugs, answering every message personally. He didn't sleep. By morning, his eyes were red, but his website was finally back online. He opened his email. Dozens of customers had written back. "Thanks for your quick response. You didn't give up. That's inspiring. I'll continue supporting your work." Arin felt something powerful. The problem that almost destroyed him had made people trust him even more. He smiled, tired but proud. "Maybe this is what success really means," he said softly. "Not just winning, but staying strong when things go wrong." That evening, while sitting on his rooftop, he looked at the sunset and thought about everything he had learned. Failure had taught him patience. Success had taught him pressure. But life was teaching him balance. He opened his notebook and wrote, "Day 90. Success is not the end. It's another test, and I'm still learning." Arin didn't know what the next challenge would be, but he was no longer afraid of falling. Because now he knew the person who keeps getting up always wins in the end. Success had changed Arin's life, at least from the outside. He had customers, followers, and people who looked up to him. But deep inside, something still felt empty. He worked long hours every day, always chasing new goals, Yet, when the night came, and the world went quiet, he felt alone. He had achieved so much, but peace still felt far away. One night, as he sat staring at the city lights from his window, a thought hit him. Why do I still feel lost? He realized that for months, he had been running, not just toward success, but away from fear. The fear of being average, the fear of failing again. And now that he had reached a certain level, that fear came back in a new form. What if I lose it all? He closed his laptop and stepped outside for some air. The streets were quiet. The same cafe where he started his journey was still open. He walked in and ordered a coffee, and there, sitting in the same corner, was the old man. Calm, smiling, as if he had been waiting all along. Arin walked up to him. "I made it," he said with a small smile. "But I don't feel happy." The old man looked at him carefully. "Then maybe you've been chasing the wrong kind of success." Arin frowned. "What do you mean?" The man said softly. "When you started, you wanted to grow. You wanted to become. But now, you only want to win. And there's a big difference." Arin stayed silent. The old man continued. "Real success isn't about numbers or fame. It's about peace, knowing you're becoming the best version of yourself step by step." The words hit Arin deeply. He realized he had forgotten why he started. He didn't begin this journey for money or attention. He began because he wanted to prove to himself that he could. He took a deep breath and smiled weakly. "I guess I lost my reason." The old man nodded. "Then find it again. Not for the world, but for yourself." Arin walked home that night feeling lighter. He didn't have all the answers, but he had clarity. He needed to reconnect with his purpose. He opened his notebook and wrote, "Day 120. I don't just want to build a business, I want to build myself." For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel lost. He realized that true motivation doesn't come from success. It comes from meaning. And for Arin, a new chapter was waiting. One that wasn't about chasing more, but about becoming more.